Okay, so welcome everyone to the welcome to the Art of Letting Go Masterclass. Akile, I appreciate your time. So this is all about letting go. So the art of letting go. Can you see my screen, by the way? Let's just make sure.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so you can. Great. You can see slides. I'm just going to take you through a few slides, just share a few ideas. Like I said, if you've got any questions, just fire away. But I probably will cover anything that you're going to ask by the end of the presentation. So the subtitle of this is how to be a yogi in the digital viral age. A lot of people think of yogis as mystical types sitting on mountains, but really actually it's quite a practical teaching and philosophy, and I'll explain a little bit more about how it works. How do you be a yogi in the modern world, in this digital and viral age? I think 2020 will be seen as the start of the viral age with coronavirus and lockdowns and so on. And so it's become more challenging, I think, to find happiness, hasn't it? And flow in your life and a sense of higher purpose and well-being, and actually thrive even in these turbulent times. I think there's many people who found it extremely difficult to experience any of those this year. But I'm gonna share some principles that will help you to do that without quitting your job or spending a fortune on books, workshops, seminars, coaching, traveling to India, which is what a lot of people think they need to do in order to become a yogi, or anything else. It's actually all available inside you. It's just what's the key to unlocking all of this. So I'll talk about that. It's a little bit of an overview, just the objectives and the structure of this. So first of all, I'm going to guide you through a very simple breath-based relaxation technique. Just 5 minutes, just to clear your mind, to put you in a nice, relaxed, calm, receptive state. Let go of anything that's arisen over the course of the day. So just to start with, Sakila, you're comfortable, just sitting comfortably wherever you are. Try and keep your back straight. Sit, so don't sort of slouch down. That's always good. Sit with your back reasonably straight. Make sure you're comfortable, feet shoulder width apart. Just cup your hands in your lap. Close your eyes. And just start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So it's really important that you breathe through your nose whenever you're doing this. Breathing in through the nose, noticing how the stomach pushes out. So you can put one hand on your stomach and just feel that the stomach is rising. It's quite important. The stomach rises. The chest rises. Just notice the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. So it's the stomach filling up first, then the chest filling up. It's a maximal inhale breath. So you feel like your lungs are completely inflated, the stomach's blown up like a balloon. Just pause, hold the breath briefly. Smile at the top of the inhale. And just become aware of anything that's disturbing, any kind of negativity. So even a minor irritation, a little bit of fear, a little bit of anxiety, something that's arisen today over the last few days, doesn't have to be anything major. And I want you to just notice that and sort of breathe into it. Just breathe into the feeling of it. So whatever you feel emotionally, and maybe it shows up physically as an uncomfortable feeling related to it, can show up as a knot in your stomach, tightness in your chest. If you're angry, maybe clenching your jaw, clenching your fists, maybe a rising tide of anger. We know what that feels like. Let's take another sip of air and just breathe into it. Now, I'm just going to, with the help of your breath, just let it go. So as you exhale, just blow out with your breath out of the mouth, and just letting go of some of that feeling. Imagine it's like dark gray or black smoke just leaving you. Good, just releasing it. And you just feel a sense of maybe some peace and calm coming over. So in the stillness between breaths, just notice that. Now breathe in again. So just notice how the stomach rises and the chest rises in that order. This is a nice deep diaphragmatic breath or belly breath. If your hand's still in your stomach, notice how the stomach's pushing out. You can move the hand up to your heart center. Just feel the chest rising. Nice expanded, expansive feeling as you breathe in. And imagine you're not just breathing air in, that you're breathing light into your stomach, blowing it up like a light-filled balloon into your heart center. And it's rising up into the crown of your head. Feel this light just infusing every pore of your body, every cell, every muscle, every corner of your mind. And in the presence of this light, no darkness is possible. So just allowing darkness to dissipate. Feel this nice white or golden light flowing into the heart center. And you just feel whatever negativity you're carrying just starting to dissipate with the breath and the light. And now you just exhale. This time keep your mouth closed. And just sigh it out. So it's flowing out of your nostrils. And just feel a sort of sighing sound, make a sighing sound in the back of your throat. So you're fogging sunglasses, but you keep your mouth closed. It's actually called the Ujjayi breath in yoga. It's very relaxing. You just kind of sigh it all out. And then come to rest at the bottom of the exhale for a few moments. Notice the peace and the stillness. And one more deep inhale. Breath into the stomach, inflating the stomach, then into the chest. And you can imagine that you're breathing light into every pore of your body, every cell, every muscle. Just pause at the top of the inhale for a few moments. Take another sip of air in. It's a maximal inhale breath. And notice that there's a peace and a stillness and a clarity in your mind that maybe wasn't there 5 minutes ago. This is the light of your true awareness. And then you're going to exhale. Again, make that sighing sound as though you're fogging sunglasses, but you keep your mouth closed. Air flows out of your nostrils, the chest, and the stomach sucked back in. And just imagine you sighing out any last remaining scrap of that feeling, that negative energy that you identified. It's going, gone. It's completely gone. You just sigh it all out. Pause here for a few moments in the stillness. And just notice how peaceful and calm you're feeling. Your mind should feel very calm, clear, empty, open, but aware. So you're very receptive and just going to stay in that state. So set that intention to stay there for the rest of the evening, the rest of the session. So it is said, so it is done. And then just open your eyes. Look around and just notice how you're feeling compared with how you're feeling 10 minutes ago before we started this. And as a little practice, you just want to keep watching your breath. Keep watching your breath over the course of the presentation. So just keep some attention and some awareness on this nice, deep, slow rhythm of the inhale. Pause briefly, and then you exhale. You can make that little sighing sound if you want to. And that keeps a nice background going. Keeps your mind nice and clear and calm and empty and open, but very receptive and very aware. Did you, so how did you find that? Was that easy?
It's easy. I think maybe because I'm used to meditation. I always meditate at any given time. If
Yeah.
I'm free, I meditate.
Okay. And do you use your breath as part of that?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I'll talk about this in more detail a bit later, about the different techniques that can really be very helpful in raising our awareness, our consciousness, and helping us to be happier and more in flow in life. I'm going to talk about seven techniques, in fact, which brings me on to the next slide of my presentation. So I'm just going to I'm going to mute you, Skila, because there's a bit of scratching and so on. But you can actually unmute yourself, I think. So and there's a chat box as well. If you've got any questions on it, you can always stick something in the chat. Okay, so just talking about what we're going to do in this presentation. Okay, so we've done this first. It's actually a very foundational breathing technique. It's part of what's called pranayama in yoga, which means breath control, breath mastery. So it's a very foundational diaphragmatic breathing technique. And you can breathe this way, nice, deep, slow, rhythmical breaths. Whenever you're breathing, it's actually a major foundation of health and well-being. Most people don't breathe properly, so it might seem very simple, but it's very powerful. And secondly, I'm going to talk about the one secret skill you need to master to allow your life to work miraculously. I'll talk about 4 life-changing benefits of doing this. I'll share 7 stress-busting techniques to help you to master this one essential skill. Tell you how you can practice these in your daily life to experience all these benefits. If you stay around to the end, I'll guide you through a 10-step letting go process. So that was a little taste of what we do in a full meditation. I've developed a 10-step process which really takes you step by step through what A Course in Miracles teaches in a very simple step-by-step process. I'll guide you through that in a meditation at the end, which is a nice way to end the session and prepare you for bed. And then we'll have time for any questions. Okay, so that's a little outline. As I said, I'll guide you through this 20-minute meditation. And I'll give you the instruction sheet for this process. So there's step-by-step instructions. As I said, it summarizes the A Course in Miracles process, all the philosophy and teachings, and also a half-hour recording to guide you through it. If you stay till the very end, okay, so that's all at the end of the session. So it's worth staying for because you'll get all those extra bonuses. I actually sent you an email with some registration bonuses. I hope you got them. So let me ask you a question, and it's a rhetorical question. Why are you here today? Just pause and think about that a few moments. Take a nice deep breath in as you do that. If you really think about it, it must be because you're still looking for something. We're all looking for something in this world, and that might be some people just want relief from stress, anxiety, depression, and disease. Disease is the source of disease. It's been very prevalent in the world this year. So better health, more wealth, better relationships, better quality of life and lifestyle. But actually, if we really look at what are we all really looking for, and in a word, that's happiness, isn't it? You can put other words that you call it inner peace, happiness, love. But happiness is quite a nice word, so I've chosen that one. This idea of happiness, that I'm okay. I'm feeling okay. I'm pretty happy. I don't have any negativity. And it's what we ultimately all seeking. The illusion is that we think that something else is going to bring us that we need to have or do certain things in order to be happy. That's the way modern society is set up anyway. So we're always seeking and striving. In fact, the American Declaration of Independence, which is the foundation of the United States of America, in that Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson, who wrote it, said, what we all have the right to pursue happiness. It's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, not happiness itself, which is quite interesting because actually that's become quite a defining characteristic of that society, and many societies modeled on it, that we're all pursuing happiness, but never actually finding it. So the personal growth industry, you might have read some of these books. I've certainly read many personal growth books, is part of that pursuit. It's the idea that if you do something, if you learn this skill, you learn this technique, if you achieve certain things, if you pursue money, you pursue better health, better relationships, but then you'll be happier. That's really what the personal growth industry has founded itself on. And so it's the idea that you're not okay right now as you are, that you need to do something or learn something or acquire something or achieve something in order to be okay. And I certainly bought into this when I started my journey. I was 12 years old. I started reading these kinds of books. It was very inspiring. But as you get a little bit older, what you start to realize is that there's no end to this. That you keep pursuing and you keep looking and striving, and you never actually are happy, because by definition, happiness is always in something outside of you, external to you, which is sometime going to happen sometime in the future. Even if you attain some of these goals, you then immediately move on to the next thing. So I lived my life that way for probably the first 30 years of my life. I was looking for something outside of me. I wanted to be a champion squash player. That was my sort of big, hairy, impossible goal that was going to make me happy. And in my late 20s, I realized that it simply wasn't going to happen, and that all these books that I'd read simply hadn't worked. Although I'd really believed this, I'd set my goals, I'd worked hard, it wasn't going to happen. And so I think that was my maybe my second major letting go opportunity in life, because it was really a letting go of 15 years I'd had that dream for, and just having to go, okay, it's not going to happen, and I have to be okay as I am. I actually found a lot of peace and a lot of happiness, a lot of contentment once I had let that go. And I continued playing the game of squash. I really enjoyed it. I probably played better than I had. I continued pursuing. However, I kept looking somewhere outside of me. It was like, okay, even though I'd had that experience, you still think it's somewhere out there. It's in the next seminar. I've been to, that's Tony Robbins, in case you don't recognize him. I've been to a Tony Robbins workshop in London. So I've been standing in amongst a crowd of thousands of people. And although it was interesting, I didn't think that was the recipe for happiness. It was a high, everyone got excited, but we're talking about is something that's permanent and sustainable. Pills, well, I've never really done pills or drugs or anything, but I did spend some time last year with a psychiatrist trying to bring mindfulness meditation into a psychiatric unit. So I saw firsthand what this world involves. Spent some time in a psychiatric clinic, and it was pretty obvious to me that wasn't really the answer. It wasn't helping people to find any kind of a lasting or sustainable happiness. It was merely a temporary sort of fix-up solution. And actually, the real answer lay within. And actually, the system didn't really want to change, and our partnership didn't work out, because mindfulness and meditation are the very opposite of looking outside of yourself for some kind of external help, like a drug. It's about going within and finding the source of happiness within you. And psychiatry, psychotherapy, well, at least they're talking about the mind, but all too often it just becomes about getting help from an external person, rather than really going within and finding the answers yourself. So there's many modalities, there's many ways that people seek for happiness out there. And none of them, in my opinion, work permanently or sustainably. So what does work then? Well, let's ask first of all, what doesn't work? Why haven't you found lasting happiness so far? And this is because mostly we've been conditioned to look in the wrong place. Most people are looking in the wrong place. I'm not saying personally that you haven't found happiness, because maybe you have, but the vast majority of people in society are looking in the wrong place. They think that they'll be happy when they have better or more of something, and we get shown these kinds of images over and over in the media: fit, healthy, sexy bodies. So that's an ideal which most people simply don't live up to. It's harder and harder as you get older to live up to that. Nice cars, the things that money can buy, nice clothes and so on, a nice house, a good lifestyle, a special relationship with Mr. or Mrs. Right, and along with that, sex that goes along with it. And that's used to sell many products and services, as we know. Travel, going on holiday, it's another one. Having nice experiences, going out to nice meals. I think this year, if any year has taught the world anything, it's that none of these experiences can really bring you permanent or lasting happiness, because they can so easily be taken away, as we've seen. You get locked down, can't travel. None of these experiences, they're temporary. So we need to look somewhere else. It's not somewhere outside of us. It's not in a temporary experience. So we look to spiritual principles. And the truth is that happiness isn't a goal in itself. This is one of my favorite quotes on happiness from a book written in 1885 called The Golden Key to Prosperity and Happiness. So when people say this is new age, it's really not. This stuff's been around for many hundreds, thousands of years. It's the ultimate quest. How can we find happiness? So happiness is a butterfly, which when pursued is always just beyond your grasp, but which, if you will sit down quietly, may come and alight on you. I love that quote, because it's really saying we're never going to find it by looking outside of ourselves, by pursuing. In fact, the Buddha said, one of his Four Noble Truths was that desire is the source of suffering. As long as we're desiring something outside of ourselves, we set ourselves up for suffering. We never find happiness. But maybe if we just sit down quietly, this elusive thing called happiness will come and alight upon us. And that sitting down quietly is none other than meditation. That's what it's called, been called for thousands of years. In modern terms, it's called mindfulness. Just sitting down quietly and allowing this happiness to arise, rather than trying to pursue it in something external. So where can you find this authentic happiness? So this is a quote by a guy called Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who's the founder of and the author of many books on this concept of flow, the world's leading expert, which is not actually a new concept. It's just a modern version of a very ancient idea, that we can actually live in a very happy way, and we can act and live in our daily lives in a state where we're happy, and we're actually very effective in what we do. And so this is what he had to say. He said, to know oneself is the first step toward making flow a part of one's entire life. But just as there is no free lunch in the material economy, nothing comes free in the psychic one. If one is not willing to invest psychic energy in the internal reality of consciousness, and instead squanders it in chasing external rewards. One loses mastery of one's life and ends up becoming a puppet of circumstances. So he's just stating a very ancient spiritual truth and principle there, that we will not find happiness outside of ourselves, and we actually squander our precious awareness, our consciousness, by chasing external rewards. We lose mastery in that process, and we become a puppet of circumstances, or a victim of circumstance, because the more attached we are to external things, the more likely we are to suffer when those things are not there. And I think a lot of people have found that with COVID-19 and the lockdown this year, that actually what they thought was the source of their happiness can very easily be taken away, and it's forced a lot of people to go within. So I think it's great for spiritual awakening. So that is the back of the head of Neo. If you've seen the Matrix, I mean, just have you seen the Matrix, Sakila? The movie The Matrix?
Some bits and pieces of it, not the whole series.
Okay. So I don't know if you saw this section, but this is where Neo, who's the hero, the character of the story, goes to see the Oracle, who's kind of trying to guide him in the right direction. And she points above her to the sign above her lintel there. She says, "Do you know what that means?" And he says, "No." It means know thyself in Latin, temet nosce. So she's pointing him, just as every great teacher and guide has within, saying, know thyself, know who you really are, because that's where the source of everything truly lies. It's not external to you. The answer is not outside of you. And then she says, well, you're waiting for something. He hasn't quite got there yet, because in his mind there's still uncertainty and doubt about who he is. Because the truth is, happiness often relies on just one character trait, and that's self-discipline. We need to have the self-discipline to do various practices. These are called spiritual practices, to actually get to know ourselves and find out who we are, and find this authentic happiness, as I call it, that's actually in there. But we won't find it if we don't have the self-discipline to go within. So the self-discipline to do what? Well, in a nutshell, and this is the sum total of really all my learning over the course of 47 years, is the very essence of spirituality and of leading a happy life is this. This is the one key skill: to let go of any negative thought or emotion. And I just hyphenate it because it's thought, emotion. The two go hand in hand. You have a thought, and then it triggers an emotion almost simultaneously. An emotion triggers thought, and thought triggers emotion. So we call it thought emotion. And a negative thought emotion is something that doesn't feel good. It's unpleasant. It can be emotionally painful. It can cause physical pain as and when it arises. And that's really the key. So there's one essential skill. It's to let go of any negative thought or emotion. And all the self-discipline and the mind training you've practiced the course is really all about that. In Course in Miracles, it's called forgiveness. I call it letting go because I think it's more descriptive of what actually you need to do. A lot of people get very confused about what forgiveness is and what it really means, and there's various versions of forgiveness. Letting go is a bit more difficult to misinterpret. So, the key to authentic happiness, and this is the first key I'm going to share with you. So the happiness or unhappiness is always experienced in your own mind. If that wasn't true, then something outside of us could make us permanently happy. But because it's true, it simply can't. And the corollary to that is that only your own negative thoughts and feelings can make you unhappy. So the first principle is true, and the second one can be true. It must be true. It follows. Only your own negative thoughts and feelings can make you unhappy. So something might come in to trigger that unhappiness, to trigger those unhappy thoughts. And then what most people do is say, oh, well, that that person, that circumstance, that situation is making me unhappy. But actually it's their own thoughts and feelings about it that are making them unhappy. And it's a very important, a critical distinction, in fact. So therefore, learning how to let go of your negative thoughts and emotions must be the key to your happiness. That's the number one key skill. If those two things are correct, which they are, they're spiritually true, and every great spiritual teaching has said pretty much the same thing. And learning how to let go of your negative thoughts and emotions must be the key to your happiness. So that's key benefit number one I'm going to talk about, is that you can actually find authentic happiness by learning this skill. Simple skill of learning to let go. So a little case study on that. This is a guy in his 80s by the name of Phil Funenhofer. He's the older one. And this is what he said. He did a course that I ran in 2018 called the Art of Letting Go course, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later when Penny joins us. And at the end of the course, he said, I've learned more about the course. And he was talking about A Course in Miracles, because it is based on A Course in Miracles. And he's been studying the course for 27 years. In the last 6 weeks and in the last 27 years of studying it, which I took as a great compliment. And he also said that learning how to forgive truly was the key benefit that he got out of the course after 27 years of studying a course about forgiveness, which I took as a great compliment. So you're pretty familiar with the course, so I'm not going to harp on this, but as you know, it's a text of about 670 pages that explains in detail the principles and the philosophy on which the course is based. There's a workbook made up of 365 daily lessons that are designed to systematically train your mind how to let go of its negativity and allow you to live in a miraculous state of mind, which I call flow. The course calls it miracles. I just use another term. It's called flow in modern psychology. It's really pointing to the same thing, that you can actually live and be pretty productive and effective by applying these principles in your daily life. So, Sakila, I just wanted to ask you: have you read the text and the workbook?
Yes, I read everything in the Course in the Miracle.
Okay, so you're familiar with it. Do you still practice the workbook, or you just read it once?
I read it. I think I read it again and again and again, and then I decided to practice what I've learned without looking at the book.
Okay, so you've done this for a number of years, so you know how powerful it is. And then there's a manual for teachers as well, which is some additional guidance, the question and answer format, and clarification of terms. So are you familiar with how the course came about, how it started?
Yes, I read the history about it.
Yeah.
It's like, it was such an amazing experience for that lady to have done that. But it's obvious it came because of she was also going through pain herself, you know.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of interesting stories. So the first one is how it started, which is this lady Helen Schuckman, who was a professor of psychology, was with her colleague Bill Thetford, and they were driving to a disciplinary hearing, which happened pretty frequently. It was quite a hostile, nasty environment that they were in. They were in this academic environment at the College of Physicians and Surgeons in New York City, which was part of Columbia University. Very prestigious, very academic, but everyone was really in their egos. It was all about, getting ahead personally. There was a lot of fighting and conflict going on. And he just turned to her in that environment and he said, I'm really tired of this, all this fighting and conflict, and surely there must be a better way. And she agreed with him. She turned to him and said, yeah, I agree with you, and I'll help you find it. And that was what kick-started the process of dictation. She started to have dreams, and a few months later, she heard this voice saying, this is the Course in Miracles, please take notes. She was a bit freaked out. So she phoned Bill, her colleague, and he said, well, why don't you just take notes? do what it says. And so began this process of writing down what this voice said, which continued over 7 years. And that's how the course was scribed, really. She called herself a scribe. She didn't author it. She scribed it. It came through her. And it was the voice of Jesus speaking to her and giving her this amazing teaching, which is really just a systematic mind training course to teach you a radically different way of thinking about and perceiving everything from a non-dual perspective. And it's designed to teach you how to forgive or let go of every false and therefore negative belief, thought, and emotion that causes you and others to suffer. Finally, it's a spiritual path that will allow you to live happily, peacefully, and lovingly. And all of that is what I call miraculously. If you're happy, you're peaceful, you're loving, it's a miracle. You're in a miraculous state of mind, or you're in a flow state. It's another way in modern psychological terms, we could call it flow state. Why are you living in the world? So Jesus said, be in the world, but not of the world. It's that idea of, yes, you're connected to something deeper, but you're able to operate in the world. And ultimately, the course's goal is to help you to escape the world entirely. So it's complete transcendence of this domain into another realm, a realm that's pure light, perfect love, that in which there is no pain, there's no suffering, there's no sickness or death. So some well-known students and teachers of the course is Marianne Williamson, who actually was trying to run for president. As we know, she wasn't successful, but she's out there doing her thing. She's probably one of the better known teachers. She wrote a book called A Return to Love, which was quoted by Nelson Mandela when he came out of prison in his first speech, in public speech. He quoted this book by Marianne Williamson based on the course. So, and the way he lived his life after that, when he came out, and the reconciliation of forgiveness was very much based on those principles. You could absolutely see the influence of the course on him, and how it had actually transformed him as a person over those 27 years in prison, and it helped to transform a whole nation, as we know. So Oprah Winfrey, as a student of the course, she's good friends with people like Deepak Chopra and Marianne Williamson, and she said she's studying the course. Wayne Dyer, in his later years, got into the course in a big way. Eckhart Tolle started teaching the course, and you. So you don't have to be famous to do this. There's just some better known people. So so that's a little digression on the course, just to explain a little bit more about it. And Phil had this major breakthrough on the last day of the Art of Letting Go course, after the holotropic breathing session. I'll explain what that is, but it's just it's a breathing process that I guide you through as part of the Art of Letting Go course. So he actually did it again the next day, and he had a major breakthrough, which he kindly sent me an email about, and he said he's quite happy for this to be made public. So just going to share the very essence of it. What he said was that he had this issue with his parents. For some reason, he just hadn't thought that his parents, particularly his mother, was quite good enough for him. And he'd carried this sort of chip on his shoulder for his entire life. And he said, I actually grew up in a very loving home. My parents, there's Penny. Hi, Penny, welcome. Can you hear us? Let's see if Penny's around. Can you hear us, Penny?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. And Sakila's here as well. So, yeah, welcome. I'm just in the middle of the presentation, so let's carry on. Nice to see you again. Okay. So this is what Phil had to say, and he just had a breakdown. He had like a cathartic experience. This was right at the end. It was the last day of the Art of Letting Go course, where he just broke down. He sobbed his heart out, as he said, and I just forgave myself for holding that against my parents, because there was really no reason. He said his mother was actually a very exceptional woman. She was very bright. She was a figure in the town. She had a weekly column in the newspaper. He says, I wanted her to be something else. This is the looking elsewhere, never being happy with what you have. God only knows what. And so he had this, this major kind of breakthrough. And he was able to forgive himself after nearly 70 odd years, and let go of the baggage. So, so I've been carrying this baggage around my life at a huge cost. So it's very powerful stuff. If you can let go of something, having carried it for an entire life, after 6 weeks, there's a great benefit in that. The second benefit, key benefit, is the let me share with you tonight, is the key to fulfilling flow. So it's about being able to let go of negative thought emotions very quickly. That was the first principle, Penny, if you recall from last week. Then being calm, poised, and able to enjoy each moment by moment, because you can let go of the negativity. And as a result of that, you can take very positive and what I call harmonious action that's appropriate in any situation. And this is really the essence of flow. The Course in Miracles would call this a miracle. So it's living in this miraculous state of mind. And that's key benefit number 2 that I'm sharing with you tonight. So authentic happiness, which rests on that one key skill of being able to let go, leads to fulfilling flow. You can find flow in your life just moment by moment, and actually be very effective, very, very productive and effective in the world. So a little bit more on what flow is. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi said, it's when we act freely for the sake of the action itself, rather than for ulterior motives. We learn to become more than what we were. So it's not about the ego's motives, ulterior motives, seeking outside of ourselves. It's about learning to become who we truly are, more than what we thought we were. Again, know thyself. And Eckhart Tolle had this to say. He said, artistic creation, sports, dance, teaching, counseling, mastery in any field of endeavor implies that the thinking mind is either no longer involved at all, or at least is taking second place. A power and intelligence greater than you, and yet one with you, in essence, takes over. There is no decision-making process anymore. Spontaneous right action happens, and, quote, you are not doing it. Mastery of life is the opposite of control. You become aligned with the greater consciousness. It acts, speaks, and does the work. So I had a really interesting experience when I was in my 20s that is exactly this to a T. I experienced exactly what Eckhart Tolle is talking about here on the squash court, as it happened to be. I was a professional squash player. I just turned professional about 6 months earlier, in my early 20s. And I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to get a result, to get an outcome, which is the very opposite of flow. And I wasn't playing very well. I wasn't playing good squash. I wasn't enjoying it. I'd lost a couple of months before to this chap who was he was a good player, but he was well past his best. He was late 30s at the time. He was in our club. I was playing for a club in Johannesburg, and I'd lost him, and then I'd taken it very hardly, because in my mind I should have been beating him, given that I was now a professional. But the game is not played on paper or in your mind; it's played on a court. So I was then due to play him in a rematch, and it was a club derby. We had 2 first league sides in the first league in Johannesburg, and I was his opposite number. So we're due to play, and this was, club derby. Everyone was going to be at the club. And I remember feeling really nervous the whole day, because really my whole decision to turn professional and this dream that I had of being a champion was at stake, and I wanted to win really badly. But there was a lot of fear. The more you desire something, the more you fear that you won't have it. So I was caught in that grip of fear and desire. But something in me said, okay, well, just go for a walk. So late afternoon, I went for a walk, took the dog for a walk, had a chat to my sister, went with me, and she just said, well, why don't you just enjoy it? You always enjoyed playing the game, so why don't you just enjoy the game like you always did, and don't worry about the result. And that really stuck with me. Easier said than done, but somehow I managed not to think for the next few hours. I just drove to the club, and I was the last match on court. So I just watched, and I just didn't think about it. I was just in this very empty, open state. I managed to keep my mind very clear. And I went on and I played in the state of complete letting go. There was no plan. I wasn't in control, as the quote says. And I really experienced exactly what he says here. It was a greater consciousness that took over me. I didn't feel like I was playing. I was being played. And it just did it all through me. And needless to say, I played really well. Played amazing squash. I won the match easily. But it wasn't really about the outcome. It was more about the sense of liberation from fear, which is a prerequisite for flow to happen. And the sense that, wow, this is actually possible and I can do this. And it was a real breakthrough for me in my squash career as well as in my life. I possibly wouldn't be doing this work now, 20 odd years later or more, 25 years later, if I hadn't had that experience. It definitely put me on a path of going, okay, so what is that? What was that experience? What was it all about? And how does one live in a state where you can experience these kinds of flow experiences much more often than is ordinary? So there you might recognize him. That's Roger Federer at Wimbledon, probably. And I think we enjoy watching people like him performing because they're in flow, and they do seem to do it effortlessly. They perform at a high level under great pressure, effortlessly, and they can completely get into the moment, into the zone. They don't get freaked out by the pressure and the situation. And so we pay a lot of money. They get paid a lot of money to perform and entertain us and show us the state of flow. And that leads me nicely into this second case study related to the Art of Letting Go course, which is a guy called Wim Grubenau who did the course. And I think 2 weeks into the course, this is what he posted on the Facebook group. He said he had a severe ego attack. So even though it's all an illusion, he's a Course student, a Course in Miracles student, he was playing tennis, and basically the ego hijacked him because he wanted to win. He had this desire to win, and he was getting upset because he wasn't playing badly. He got frustrated and irritated, and he tried to force points. He made mistakes. Everything just got worse, and the whole match became a very unpleasant experience. He says, looking back, I realized I should have tried to take a few deep breaths to get perspective on the ego strategy to belittle me. And it wanted me to think thoughts of unworthiness, meaningless thoughts on winning, and the importance of performing well. But in the heat of the moment, it is quite difficult to hold momentum. I struggle with my temper at times, and the ego knows how to push my buttons, but this hasn't happened in a long time. I think there will be defeats along the way on my journey, but I mustn't harbor guilt. I must forgive the circumstances and stay in the present. So he was able to look back and reflect on it. And based on that post, I then shared with him in one of the discussion sessions we had, live discussion session on Zoom. I shared this experience I've just shared with you on the squash court, and how I experienced flow and I overcame fear. And I also taught him the breathing technique that I showed you earlier. So how to just breathe nice, deep, slow, rhythmical breaths. And to his credit, he applied it all. Applied the teaching and the breathing. And as he said, I centered myself, I breathed, and I experienced peace. Played a lot better, and he aimed just to take a set, but actually he beat him in 3 sets, which he'd never done before. He realized that it wasn't about competition and winning. It was really about the experience. He was in flow. He really enjoyed it, and he was at peace. And this is absolutely critical. He experienced something higher, something transcendent in this very ordinary tennis match. It was what I call an extraordinary ordinary experience. He experienced God's pleasure in him, as he phrases it, a joy in the process, a flow. And he also learned something important about himself, that he can choose to let go of anger, which really doesn't work, and be at peace instead. So that, if you recall, that was one of the principles of flow, that it's really about realizing that you are something more than what you thought you were. And I think this is a perfect illustration of that principle in action. And then the third key is the key to wonderful well-being. I want to share with you. So if you find authentic happiness by being able to let go at will, and you find the sense of flow in every aspect of your life, so just the ordinary experiences of your life, your daily life. You could be cooking, shopping, working, going for a walk, exercising, playing tennis as he was. In every aspect of your life, you're able to bring this happiness and experience it in action. That's what Jesus said, being in the world but not of the world. There's another way of saying it. And if you can do those first 2 things, then you are super healthy. If you are authentically happy and you're in flow in every aspect of your life, you will be healthy. You can't be out of flow and be unhealthy. Because poor physical health is a sign that you're unhappy and that you're disconnected from the flow. And extraordinary ordinary. So I just shared an experience of that I had, that Vim had. It's an ordinary experience. You're playing squash, you're playing tennis, you're doing something. You're not at Wimbledon, you're not winning major championships, but it's what's going on in your own experience that makes it extraordinary, because you're transcending fear. And it's filled with these miraculous experiences and results. The miraculous experience is an experience in which you overcome fear, in which you shift from a state of fear to love. And when you do that, then very often your actions and the outcomes of your actions are just on a different level. It's much, much more positive. And so if you do all of that, you're experiencing this well-being. You're being well in your daily life, which is what it's all about. It's not just about the health of the body. It's mental, it's emotional, it's physical. It's all coming together in your daily experience of life. And that's really what the true miracle is. So that's key benefit number 3. And this is what Robin had to say about the Art of Letting Go course. And let me just and I took this straight out of an online form that she filled in. So you can see she was totally satisfied. It was extremely helpful in finding more happiness, flow, fulfillment, and purpose in her daily life. And those are really the four key benefits that I promised to share tonight. Oh, there's Corin. Someone else has joined us. And so peace. This was her feedback at the end of the course. Peace, less anxiety. She sleeps better. She's not taking painkillers anymore for stress headaches. Better relationships with her children, not as frightened or worried. So a pretty comprehensive, what I call a life transformation, has taken place. And I'm just going to share with you a little video that she kindly recorded for me. This was about 8 or 9 months after the course finished, and she's just sharing, her experience since the course, and how it's changed her life. So there we go, Robin.
Hi, My name's Robin. I did the course last year with Jonathan. I'd never heard of the course before. It was something entirely different to me, although I've been practicing meditation. I've been going to breathworks for some time, trying genuinely to find peace. I'm a mum, I work, I've got a normal busy life. I've been plagued with headaches, I've been plagued with sore necks and the normal problems that people have. I found that through the course and joining the online community, I found a group of like-minded people all exploring the course. The course is fundamentally different. At first I thought it was all about religion, which it wasn't, although it is about God, and I do believe in God, and it made a great deal of sense in my life that the only thing is really that we concentrate on is God. It's about finding love. It's about being kinder to people. I still listen to the teachings every day. I've found that by listening to the teachings and following the book and reading, I have become more compassionate. I've become a nicer person. I feel less guilty. I feel that the world is a different place. I don't feel that the world is always a good place. It's not. But I believe that it impacts me less. I used to be traumatized by the world. I used to lie awake and worry about things that are happening and my children and my life and worry about my past and worry about the future. I've found that I've achieved a sense of peace. And if nothing else, I'm really grateful to Jono and the people I met on the course, because that sense of peace has helped me to heal many parts of my life. I no longer have headaches. I used to suffer with headaches. I used to have terrible neck pain that I was on painkillers on all the time. And honestly, those things have gone away. I don't take painkillers for my neck and I don't have headaches anymore. My relationships with my children are much better and my relationship with myself is a lot better. So in all, it's taken a lot of the jagged edges off of life and it's just made life more bearable. And if you think about it, we're probably going to be here for a long time. So if it continues to get more and more bearable, and as I say, each day I learn a new lesson, and it does make life a little bit different and a little bit better, and I see things a little bit more clearly. And that to me has been the biggest gift of the course.
So that's Robin. Thank you for sharing that, Robin. Let me just check in with everyone and make sure we're all there. Karen, can you hear us okay?
Perfectly, thank you.
Okay, great. Welcome.
Thank
so
you.
I'm going to catch the second half of the presentation. I think this is about where you left off last time. So let's crack on with it, shall we? Any questions so far? Just we sort of halfway through. So any questions, Akila, Penny?
I don't have any questions so far.
No. Okay. We'll have time at the end for some questions. Okay, so we're talking about the 3 keys to an extraordinary ordinary life. And the first one is the key to authentic happiness, which is this idea of letting go, which is what the A Course in Miracles calls forgiveness. How to let go of any negative thoughts or emotions, no matter how challenging the situation provoking them seems to be. If you can do that, then you can be happy in any circumstance or situation. Would you agree?
Yes, definitely.
So, and that is really the essence of what the teaching of the Course is on forgiveness. If you can let go of negative thoughts and emotions, no matter what's seemingly happening in the world, then you have the key to your own happiness. The second benefit of that is that it leads to this idea of fulfilling flow. So if you can actually live in that happy state, in that unshakable state, and remain poised and enjoy the moment, you can take appropriate positive action to respond to any situation appropriately. And that's really what flow is. So I'm not just sitting meditating all day. I'm active in my life. I'm busy. I've got things to do, responsibilities, and so on. But I'm just doing it very differently. I'm doing it from a state where I'm fundamentally happy, and I'm able to stay connected to that happiness in whatever situation arises, and take pretty appropriate, positive, harmonious action, rather than action taken based on the ego and fear and anger and so on, which never works out well. And then secret number 3 is the key to wonderful well-being. This wonderful, it's an overused word, but I've used it because it actually is pretty wonderful. It's pretty amazing, pretty a wonder of the world to actually experience true well-being in today's world. It's not an easy, common thing to do. So to be happy and in flow in every aspect of your life, and live this super healthy, extraordinary, ordinary life filled with regular, miraculous experiences and results. That's a pretty wonderful accomplishment. If you can be living in that state of mind and of being in your daily life, then you are pretty extraordinarily successful. There are not many people in the world who are able to do that, because they haven't got the fundamentals right. If you can't let go, then none of this happens. So you might ask yourself, how can I live this way? Well, I think we all know that learning new information is often necessary. Sometimes we need more information. We need some different ideas, but it's not a sufficient step for a true transformation of mind to happen. So there are 2 ways to this for this true transformation to happen. First is the old way, what I call the way of the cross. So through intense pain and suffering, you're forced to go within and break through suddenly to a new level of understanding and wisdom. So a good example of that is Eckhart Tolle. He had a very difficult life until the age of 29. He was suicidally depressed. One night lying in bed, he just said, I can't take this anymore. He said, I can't stand myself anymore. That was the thought that went through his mind. And maybe because he was in so much pain, emotional pain, something split in his mind, and he realized that there must be a true I and a false self. I, the real I, can't stand my false self anymore. He kind of went into, he passed out. He went into some kind of altered state. There was like a vortex of energy. It felt like it sucked him in. He passed out. And he woke up the next day and he just saw everything differently. So he was like, actually, everything is pure and clean, and all of that negativity and that heaviness had dropped away. And he found himself in a state of peace, which has lasted for the rest of his life. But it required a lot of pain and suffering for the first 29 years to get there. And that's quite unusual, that someone just breaks through to that level of consciousness, overnight, literally. Normally, it's much more gradual and sort of progressive. So the second way is more along those lines. It's saying through the conscious discipline practice of spiritual ideas and techniques, you systematically grow in understanding and wisdom. And this is I call the way of mastery. So you actually practice consciously these spiritual ideas and these techniques in order to grow, in order to find more happiness, more flow, more well-being in your life. And so this way of mastery involves understanding and realization of a higher truth about yourself and life and the world through personal experience. It's not about dogma. It's not about saying Hail Marys. It's not about any of that. It requires your active willingness and your disciplined effort. And so doing what I call key spiritual practices regularly is absolutely essential to experiencing this. It can be greatly facilitated as well by another person or a group who help raise the person. I use transformational language here, who help raise the initiate's consciousness by transmitting positive energy and holding him or her accountable to a higher standard. It rubs off. They say the company you keep determines the elevation of your life. Just look at your 5 closest friends, and you'll have quite a good picture of you, because we are affected by group energy. And then it's about immersion in these key spiritual practices, and this really positive field of consciousness that accelerates your own transformation. So there's something about doing the work in a group. This is why people go away to retreats and workshops, because in that group setting, it actually facilitates it. This particular course I'm going to talk about is all online, but you actually get the same benefit. You don't necessarily have to physically be there, because there's an interaction, there's a transmission of energy even online. So these are some of the key spiritual practices, including breath work, techniques. So I've just used some yogic terms. These are all terms from yoga, if you're familiar with it. There are 8 limbs in yoga. And so breath work involves asana, which is posture, which really just involves actually sitting. If you've ever done yoga, they call it them asanas. But the original yoga was just about meditation posture, sitting in the right posture. Pranayama, which is breath control, which we did a little bit of that to start with, Sakile. And pratyahara, which is a withdrawal of the senses. So it's just withdrawing and going within. So often you close your eyes and you just give yourself some time out of the sensory world for that time. The second key spiritual practice is multidimensional meditation. So by that I mean you're using a number of different techniques that help your mind to go into a much calmer, more peaceful state. So breath work is one, using visualization, imagining light is another. We did a little bit of that, Sakile. Using the voice, toning, using sounds. There's things called binaural beats now, which can really help. Touching, toning, breathing, visualization. So all of that, really what it does is it helps the mind to focus on something else rather than on its normal habitual thinking. And so it tricks the mind into becoming quiet, which is what meditation is designed to do. So that incorporates the first 3, asana, pranayama, and pratyahara, plus dharana and dhyana. Dharana and dhyana are really about meditation. It's about focused meditation and concentration. That's dharana. And dhyana is a deep sort of immersion, when you really go deep in meditation. And there really isn't much going on. Maybe you're just thinking about one thing or thinking about nothing. You start to go into these deep contemplative states of meditation, which is the seventh limb of yoga. Forgiveness or letting go, as I term it. So that's involved quite heavily in yoga. Yama, niyama, and pratyahara. Yama and niyama are really the do's and don'ts. It's saying, let go of things like greed and lust and fear, and do be kind and generous, and basic behavioral practices, but they require some kind of spiritual understanding and a higher level of spiritual awakening to do. And pratyahara, which is already about withdrawing. Letting go is all about saying, I'm letting go of my mind's attachment to and investment in whatever I'm seeing outside of myself. So it's a withdrawal of your consciousness from the attachment to the world. Group discussion sessions, that's another one. So in yoga, there's something called niyama, which is one of these letting go practices. One of these positive observances that they're saying you should do. And in that, there's something called svadhyaya, which is about studying. So studying spiritual texts. In ancient India, they studied things like the Bhagavad Gita and the Vedas. In our case, we study A Course in Miracles. Doesn't matter, as long as it's an authentic spiritual text with a true spiritual teaching. It doesn't matter what you study. So reading or listening to is another way of doing that. Direct reading, or now we have audio, podcasts, audio recordings. So we've got all this technology that can really help us to practice all of these things. And in my view, that's the greatest application of technology. End of day reflection. So that involves asanas, sitting quietly, pranayama, breathing, withdrawing the senses, and just focusing on one thing. That's what the reflection is. And then a pre-bed relaxation is all of that, plus this just immersion, going into a deeper state, to prepare yourself for bed. Deeper meditative state when your mind is very nice and calm. It's what we call an alpha state in brainwave terms, which is when you fall asleep very easily. So there's 7 key spiritual practices that I've incorporated in this Art of Letting Go course, which really dovetail very nicely with the 7 limbs of yoga, which is a practice that is thousands of years old, out of ancient India. Probably the longest standing spiritual transformation system in the entire world, yogas, and arguably the most effective. And then the 8th limb of yoga, they're called samadhi, which really just means a sameness of your consciousness. So it's seeing the oneness, seeing everything as the same. And it's not so much a practice as a state of mind. It's being able to live in the world but not be of the world, as Jesus put it. And that is Jesus as an example of someone who attained that enlightened state and was able to make a profound impact in the world, because he was in that enlightened state of consciousness. So just a little overview of what this Art of Letting Go course is about. It's a facilitated 6-week mind and life transformation process. It's based on the way of mastery, on these principles of yoga and immersion learning. So you really immerse yourself through practicing. It's about your own experience. It's not me telling you things. It's more about your own experience. So the 7 key spiritual practices are very important, and they incorporate the 7 limbs of yoga. So if you do the course, you're actually practicing yoga. And yoga simply means union. It's the union of the mind, the one mind, the seemingly separated mind and identity, your separate self, with the one mind that we can call God. Key spiritual practices include live and recorded daily online meditations. So we run live meditations every day. There's recorded meditations every day. There's discussion sessions once a week. There's also a 1-week breathwork course in the first week. She take you through the fundamentals of breathwork, because it's the foundation of all the meditation that we do. But there's a lot of benefit just in doing those techniques. Self-study and solo meditation. So all of that's incorporated. And really, I'm just your guide. I'm guiding you through a process that's quite difficult to do on your own, simply because you don't know necessarily what to do. And secondly, it's just the discipline to go, okay, yes, I'm going to sit down. I'm actually going to do this now. That's really the role of a facilitator and a process like this, just to help you to do it as best you can. And the goal is to help you to learn to let go of fearful, stressful thoughts and emotions whenever they arise, so you can start consistently experiencing. And these are the key benefits, which I've just shared with you in the first part of the presentation. The first one is authentic happiness. So at the end of the course, you will know how to let go of any negative thoughts or emotions. I'm going to teach you a number of different letting go techniques. It's all designed to help you to let go, but there are specific techniques to do that. You stay till the end of the session. I'll take you through the 10-step letting go process, which is probably the most profound and powerful one, because it incorporates all of the teaching and philosophy of A Course in Miracles in a simple 10-step process. So stick around till the end. I'll guide you through that as a little pre-bed meditation to set you up for a lovely night's sleep. So no matter how challenging the situation seems to be, and we can have some very, very challenging situations in life, but you always have a choice. And if you know how to let go, it doesn't necessarily mean you'll always do it immediately, but you'll have the knowledge. to enable you to do that. So just a couple more testimonials, if you like, from the Art of Letting Go course. I've run 2 versions of this course. So that's Debbie, who was a Course in Miracles group facilitator herself. She just said it helped me see my subconscious patterns that stopped me from doing things in my life that are good for me, like yoga. She meant the physical yoga, meditating, which can be part of it. But a lot of people think that that's yoga. There's a lot more to yoga than that. Yoga is actually a path to enlightenment and incorporates the foundation is really meditation. And she said that revelation has been huge. Very grateful I did your course. It's given me a great deal to think about. This is Chi-Chi, makes forgiveness, the letting go processes that I taught, makes forgiveness seem so simple. Because that's the idea. If you can make what's seemingly difficult simple, then there's value in taking any course or program. That's in effect why you take a course, to make what's seemingly difficult and complex simple, and learning how to forgive truly. That was Phil's big breakthrough moment that I shared earlier. So happiness. This is an experience that a lady called Hazel, who's still part of the community. In fact, I just did a meditation with her an hour ago. After doing one of the exercises on inspired decision making. So Zoom is really cool. It allows you to mimic what happens in real life. So you can actually break out. It's got a function called breakout rooms, and you can break out into groups, into couples. So one of the exercises, we all join on Zoom, and then I just break people out into separate rooms, and they can go off into that room, and they can have a chat together without knowing what everyone else is saying. And then at the end of it, we reconvene in the main room. So that was pretty cool technology, and it really worked for Hazel. As you can see, she experienced a feeling of expanding energy radiating from her heart center, which she never experienced before. The energy felt like pure love, which was exhilarating to the point of me being wide awake all night. What a stunning experience, which will stay with me for the rest of my life. So that kind of thing can happen. I don't know what will happen when you expose yourself to these kinds of spiritual practices and techniques. Anything can happen, and it's very possible that you could have an experience like that, or even greater. And this is what Lebo had to say. It's like learning to sort out issues with another mind. So it gives you peace within, no lingering guilt or resentment. So that's what the essence of letting go of forgiveness is. And that's what I'm really just trying to teach in the course. So key benefit number 2 is fulfilling flow in your daily activities. So can you actually live in your daily life in a way where you're poised, you're enjoying the moment, even difficult moments, even challenging moments, you can enjoy those too. In fact, if you're in flow, you should enjoy them, while you actually are able to take positive, harmonious action to respond to any situation appropriately. So it's about flow generally is characterized by action. Maybe you do nothing, that's also possible. But often you take some action, but it's positive, harmonious action. It's very appropriate. That's going to do things that you simply can't do if you're in fear. You cannot take positive, harmonious action from a fearful, negative state of mind. And because your actions determine your results in life, that starts to affect your quality and experience of life on a daily basis in quite a profound way. So a couple of other testimonials. This is Lauren, lady from the US, who did first course I ran. She just talked about how she used this simple breathwork technique I showed you earlier, just to calm herself. No mantras, no thoughts, just deep breaths. She had a difficult situation, and she came through it in a flow state. So my mind was at peace. I did all I wanted to do with zero mental fuss or chatter. Peace is real for me these days. Thank you. And then Marie, who did one of the breath breaks. I've been sending those to all of you. I think you've been getting the breath breaks. I hope you've used them. I hope they've helped. In fact, let's just check in with everyone and ask. Have you all used some of the recordings that I've sent you? Karen?
Yeah, I have. So the short ones are nice and very handy to have to hand. I try to do the longer one in the morning if I've got time.
Yeah.
And the short ones are just, it's so great to have something on my phone that I can like access anywhere. I don't have to get to a place where I have to have a computer on or anything like that.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, that's really the idea. It's just it's a mini meditation or a breath break in 5 minutes, just to shift your state and put you into a different state of mind. And that's really what the workbook in the course is designed to help you to do. But most people don't practice. So all I've done is I've gone, okay, well, let's put that workbook into a little mini meditation and give it to people, so that during the day you can actually just, I don't have 20 minutes necessarily, but I've got 5 or 3 minutes. Some of them, 3 minutes, just to reset, reconnect. As she said, I feel totally relaxed and connected having done it, because using these techniques like breath work is really powerful. It does things mentally and physiologically to your system just by doing a few minutes of breathing that are actually quite incredible. What's happening when you do deep diaphragmatic breathing, and then you combine it with a little bit of mind training. So you're actually pulling positive ideas and the energy that goes with that in. It becomes really, really powerful, because you're using the breath, and you're using the mind in conjunction, and that enhances both of them in a way that just separated it just doesn't happen.
So Jono, just another comment was that, if that's okay, even going to sleep at night, I don't necessarily want to put an audio on to wake my husband up or anything like that. But some of the techniques that you teach with breathing, then I found last night in particular, my head was very busy because I worked late, and I switched off the light and wanted to do something very quietly. So like use some of that breathing technique, and that actually calmed me down way more than just sitting reading a book.
It will, because physiologically, when you do deep diaphragmatic breathing, it engages what's called the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the opposite of the fight or flight stress response. So your whole body, your body and your mind start to relax. It releases the opposite of stress chemicals. It releases things like dopamine and serotonin, which are calming, relaxing, soothing. You get these feelings of relaxation just by breathing. So it's a way of starting to control your body's biochemistry. And what we've been taught in today's world is that we need pills. We need something external to us to control our biochemistry. But actually, it's all there. These techniques have been around for thousands of years, because your body produces all the chemicals you need. You don't need to start introducing anything external. You just need to know how to activate those chemicals. So that's what breathwork does. It's an enormously powerful technique to do that. So as I said, I'll be taking you on a 1-week breathwork course, and then throughout, breathwork is a foundation of this. This is another testimonial. I included what John had to say as well. So he also found it extremely helpful in helping him to let go of negative thoughts and find more happiness, flow, fulfillment, and purpose in his daily life. And he said, I was able to handle very difficult situations in a calm and peaceful manner, which is what flow is all about. You're in a difficult situation, and then you're calm and you're peaceful. That's exactly what the course was designed to do, and that's what it helped him to do. And I wanted to include that because I asked for feedback, and he said, I can't think of anything, which was, I suppose, a compliment, although it wasn't very helpful for me to help improve the course. It was a great compliment. And then the third sort of key benefit or result of the Art of Letting Go course is this idea of wonderful well-being. So start experiencing more happiness and flow in every aspect of your life, and living an extraordinary, what I call an extraordinary ordinary life. So this is not saying you need to go and win Wimbledon or climb Mount Everest or do anything that's out there that people go, oh wow, you know, you've done something so amazing. It's just about being extraordinary in your own life. So whatever you're doing, you're the best version of you. You're the best Karen, the best Sakita, the best Penny, living your life, running your business, doing your job, doing whatever, your family life, your work life. In every aspect of your life, you're able to find this underlying happiness, the peace that comes with that, and you're able to allow that to flow into your daily life. And that is all a miracle is. I think a lot of people don't really, it took me a long time to understand what a miracle really is, because we come to A Course in Miracles with these preconceptions of what a miracle is. Oh, it's walking on water, it's turning water into wine, it's raising the dead, it's doing phenomenal, extraordinary things. No, it's not. It's just being in a happy, peaceful state, especially when you're tempted not to be, especially when you're tempted to be fearful and stressed and whatever. And if you can change your mind in those difficult situations, that's the real miracle. And then the results come automatically, because if you change your mind, then you deal with situations much, much better. If you're not stressed, if you're calm, you're going to deal with whatever life throws at you much in a much better way. And you'll experience a sense of well-being and fulfillment and accomplishment because of that. So the formula for true success is happiness and peace, even under pressure. As John said, I was able to handle very difficult situations in a calm and peaceful manner. This idea that you can find a real sense of fulfillment and a sense of higher purpose in the moment. So it's not, you don't have to look anywhere else for your purpose other than the present moment. If you're happy and you're at peace and you're in flow in your daily life, in your daily activities, then there's all the purpose you need. Your purpose is in the experience of flow in the moment. It's not something out there, it's one day when I achieve this. It's moment by moment by moment, which is a profound idea, really, because the entire Western world is based on the idea that somehow we will only be happy when we get somewhere, when we achieve our goal that's somewhere in the future, somewhere outside of us, then we're entitled to be happy, but not while we're doing it. We have to stress and strain and graft away for these, rare moments of glory, and then those quickly fade. And this idea of total well-being, that if you're being well, I think more importantly than ever this year, we've seen, the benefit of well-being is huge. That there's this this need, what is all of this? What is all of this stuff for, really? If it's not for, if we're not being well, success is meaningless if we're sick. And so that was Robin's experience, having just more peace, much less anxiety, sleeping better, not needing drugs anymore for stress, headaches, just having better relationships, and just generally not being as frightened or as worried. So that's thriving, and she continues to this day, 2 years later. It really has changed her life in a profound way. So just to summarize, it's about being authentically happy, knowing how to let go of any negative thoughts or emotions, no matter how challenging the situation provoking them appears to be. Then being able to do your daily activities and flow. So you'll know how to remain poised and enjoy the moment while taking positive and harmonious action to respond to any situation appropriately. And number 3, you'll experience fulfillment, higher purpose, and well-being. So this idea of higher purpose is the fourth thing I wanted to share, because it will come automatically when you find flow. If you're happy and in flow, then you don't need to look anywhere else. Your higher purpose is to be happy and in flow moment by moment by moment. It's not about anything external that you need to achieve. It's not about the outcome, it's about the process. So you become much more process-oriented than outcome-oriented. And you start experiencing this on a daily basis. You start experiencing happiness and flow in every aspect of your life, and living this extraordinary, ordinary life, being the best version of you, and giving not just yourself, but others miraculous experiences and results regularly. So you start touching other people through your presence. You extend it into the world, and people will notice, and you will start making a profound impact on the people around you in your life, your family, your friends, work colleagues, when you're in a different state of mind. So can you see why letting go is the critical skill? Because letting go leads to authentic happiness, leads to the ability to be in flow. If you're not happy, you can't be in flow. And then fulfillment, higher purpose, and the sense of wonderful well-being follow. If you're happy and in flow, then all of those tend to happen. So letting go is the foundation stone. It's the prerequisite, which is exactly what Jesus says in A Course in Miracles. He just calls it forgiveness. He says forgiveness is the key to happiness. It says it's one of the lessons, I think 121. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Letting go is the key to your authentic happiness, and then to flow, which is miracles, and fulfillment, higher purpose, and wonderful well-being. If you can't let go, then you're not going to be happy. There's going to be a lot of negativity. If you're in a negative state of mind, you can't find flow. By definition, negativity and flow don't go together. You can't take positive, appropriate action. There's no sense of fulfillment. Your higher purpose disappears. It's just about coping with life, trying to get through daily diet of negativity, and over time, that's going to make you sick. Dis-ease is the source of all disease. If you're not happy, there's no flow, and that continues over a long period of time. The stress chemicals that get released, cortisol, adrenaline, and others, when you're in a dysfunctional state, when you're unhappy, you're not in flow, will make you sick if those if your body keeps producing them over many years. And so there's no well-being. So the 7 key spiritual practices, I'm just going to detail them again, that you're going to do in the Art of Letting Go course, and when and how you're going to do them. I'm just going to explain a few logistics. So I'll give you a 1 hour, as well as a 40-minute version of that, and a half-hour version of that, a guided letting go meditation, plus 2 20 to 30-minute live guided meditations a day, plus 2 recordings, which are sent daily via email and WhatsApp. So you're going to get a lot of different recordings. There's live sessions, there's recorded sessions, there's all this help to just help you. If you want to do a longer meditation, you have a recording. You want to do a shorter breath break recording, that's there too. In terms of forgiveness and letting go, there's a 10-step letting go process that I'm going to guide you through at the end of this, which is included in the guided letting go meditation. There's 5 other shorter letting go techniques. So I'm giving you a number of different ways, because not everything works the same for everyone. And you will find what works for you. And you're going to, out of all of those, something is going to work. And you might use them in different situations. So 10-step letting go is great for a deeper meditation. If there's something really difficult that you're dealing with, that you're finding very difficult to let go of. If it's a minor irritation, well, maybe just using a breath break, or say the Ho'oponopono process, which is one of the shorter letting go techniques, might work really well. Just help you to shift it in a few minutes. So breath and mind training breaks. You'll get a daily recorded 2 to 10-minute breath break sent via WhatsApp, combined with practicing the mind training lesson for the day from Course in Miracles workbook. That's from week 2 onwards. So you'll get a breath break, little mini meditation that you can use every day in the course to just train your mind, as well as do some breathing. There's group discussion sessions, so discussion of ideas in the reading. You've all attended some or more of those, so you know the format. We just do it online. So you can join from your home, office, wherever you happen to be. There's a Q&A opportunity as well. And you'll get pre-recorded sessions. So every day there's a pre-recorded, 1 or 2 pre-recorded sessions, Monday to Saturday, as well as the live session on Sunday afternoon. So you can immerse yourself in this. I'm not saying you have to listen to all of them, but they're all available on video. They're also available on audio. So it's quite easy if you're driving, you're walking, you're cooking, you can just put audio on and listen to it. And that way you can get to listen to the 90-minute session every day while you're doing other things. Reading, so there's 1 lesson from a Course in Miracles workbook in the morning, plus another section, 1 section of the Course in Miracles text, which typically 2 to 4 pages every evening. So you'll be doing some reading. There is some audio to guide you through that as well. So give you access to David Hoffmeister, who guides you through the audio of the text, if you want to listen to that. And I'm also going to be doing in the live meditations next year. I'm going to be doing each section of the workbook, the section of the workbook for that day, as a meditation. So you can listen to it. I'll take you into a meditative state, and then you can listen to it live on Zoom, which would be the effectively be a reading for 20 minutes or half an hour while you're in this very deep kind of meditative state. Because these words go in a different level when you're in a different state of mind. You might have experienced that. You can read the course one day and read the same passage, and then read it another day, and you can see something completely different. So the idea is to just help you maybe to go a little bit deeper into what you've already read. Sakila, you said you've read it. Penny, you've read it, but it's just giving you a different experience of the same material. And then finally, an end of day reflection. So there's 4 powerful questions that I just prompt you to ask and answer at the end of every day. It just takes a few minutes. I give you a little guided recording to guide you through that process, which is really helpful, because then you're learning from each day. You can reflect on it and go, okay, so what did I learn today? Where did I go wrong? How could I do it better next time? And so you're making the most of every day, making the most of your learning experiences by just reflecting on it. And finally, a pre-bed relaxation, which sort of dovetails in. So you start with the end of day reflection and a bit of relaxation. Just listen to the Power Sleep meditation track before bed. I give you that track. It's got binaural beats, which help to entrain your brainwaves into an alpha state. And when you're in an alpha state, your mind naturally tends to fall asleep. So it puts you into a nice state to sleep. Karen, if you find you're having difficulty sleeping, doing some breathing and listening to the Power Sleep will definitely help you, because it's just another tool to calm the mind down, and you're using brainwave frequency. So it tricks your mind into lowering the brainwave frequency, which then changes your thinking. So you're using some technology to quite a clever way to help you to change your internal state, which arguably is the only real benefit of using technology. So, does it change consciousness for the better? So the structure of the course, week 1 is an introduction. We'll explore the theory behind the course. We'll go into the high-level overview of A Course in Miracles, so you understand what it's teaching from a high level. And then before we actually dive into the workbook lessons, we'll read and discuss the first chapter of the text. We'll work through exercises 1 to 3 in the course manual that I'm going to give you. So there's some practical exercises. You'll learn and practice 7 fundamental breathwork techniques in the first week. So that's a foundational week. It's just to sort of ease you into it and give you some of the fundamentals and the foundation for the rest of it. And then weeks 2 to 6, we'll work through the Course in Miracles text and the workbook. So you'll do the first 35 lessons of the workbook, the first 5 chapters of the text, the rest of the exercises. There's 12 exercises in the Art of Living a Course manual. And to finish off with, we'll do the holotropic breathing, which I talked about earlier. That's what actually gave Phil his breakthrough experience. It's a great way to end the course, and you can have some profound experiences. I don't know what experiences you will have, but it creates a platform for a profound transformational experience to happen, which is a really nice way to end the course and give you maybe an access to a state of mind that is very rare. It doesn't not that easy to get into these altered states without a technique like this. So the dates and times, it's going to start on Sunday the 3rd of January. So what's that, 5 weeks away? 5 weeks away. There's going to be live meditations Monday to Friday at those times. So there's a lunchtime session, there's an evening session, which you're most welcome to join. You don't have to. You will have recordings, but you're most welcome to join the live sessions. It's also an opportunity to have a little check-in, a little discussion about some principles and concepts if you want. So make use of them if you want. Live discussion sessions on Sundays, 12:30 UK time to 2:30 SA time to 4:30 SA time. So that's really the key sort of session that you shouldn't miss, the live session. It's an opportunity to dive deeper into the week's material, to ask and have your questions answered. We do a group meditation. It's really keeping you in touch with the group and the community as we go along. So you'll also get the following tools in an information and exercise pack that I've put together. So I've mentioned the 10-step letting go process outline. As I said, I'll give you that at the end of tonight. So thank you for listening to this. If you stayed till the end, and I'll guide you through the 10-step letting go process. There's instructions for 5 shorter letting go processes for quick release. There's 2 documents to help you to understand the theory of letting go. There's a worksheet for the Name Your Game exercise, which is all about really identifying what your game is, what your ego's game is. So it gets very personal. It's the only way to do transformation. It's not theoretical. It's, okay, so what am I feeling? What's my game? What am I doing? What's my ego program? And once we're aware of that, to turn it around. So there's a blueprint for your higher self and purpose. So there's some exercises on that. There's 5 extra transformational and mind training exercises, which I'll guide you through. There's 12 pathways to higher consciousness. It's a map of consciousness to help you navigate the levels in your mind, a daily schedule planner, and some inspirational quotes and even some poetry. So there's a lot in there. Don't worry, don't get overwhelmed. I just walk you through it step by step in over the course of 6 weeks. So we cover all of this in a very systematic, structured way. So there's the information exercise pack. If I was charging for that separately, I'd put a £20 value on it, because it's so summarized and synthesized. Let me get that right. Which is really where information becomes valuable. It's not about volume of information. It's summary information. It's much harder to write a concise 1-page summary than a 10-page waffle, as I've learned from my own experience in business. So you'll also get the Letting Go Meditation Power Pack. So there's a guided letting go theta meditation that entrains your brainwaves into a theta state, which is 1 below alpha. So that's a state where we're dreaming, but you can do it consciously. You can actually be awake and in theta, which is where meditation ultimately is designed to take you, to theta and then a level below, which is delta, where you start getting these very deep experiences of another dimension of your mind, another transcendent realm of reality. And you'll get 3 versions of that. So if you don't have an hour, you can do 40 minutes or half an hour. And this is what Mike had to say. He did the first beta course I ever ran 2 years ago. I think you run a fantastic course. The model of daily meditation is a really good one. Gets everyone really engaged and really helps to make you feel that you're completely immersed. I do think it is a fantastic process. Sets you up brilliantly for the day. So it's a great way to start the day. I'll also give you a power sleep track, which is 40 minutes. You can listen to that for as long as you want, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes at the end of the day, just as part of your pre-bed process to do your reflection and just take you into a really nice state to fall asleep. And Patricia who you all know, Patricia Richards, done sessions at her house. This is what she had to say at the end of the course about it. She woke up refreshed and a willingness to start a new day. Thank you for the course. I'm finding it most helpful. Patricia's been studying A Course in Miracles for many years, 10 years. So this will give you a different perspective, a new experience, even if you're not a newbie in the course. It's gonna give you a new experience of the same material, which is really the key. So the Letting Go Meditation Power Pack, it's valued at £20. Holotropic breathing. So there's just some testimonials on holotropic breathing. It was awesome. Really enjoyed the session. This is Robin, went to many events in my life, saying thank you and asking for forgiveness. So it'll take you into your past. You can have experiences of your past where you revisit them. You can even go into pre-birth, past life. There's many, many things that can happen when you do a powerful process like this. It's equivalent to taking psychedelic drugs, except you're just using your breath. But it can really take you on a mental and emotional journey that is very difficult to do if you don't have a process, a practice like this. And literally, this is what Joanne said, a lady in the UK did it, a mind-blowing experience. And that's not an exaggeration, it really is. So that's something to look forward to at the end of the course. And then Phil had his breakthrough experience. At the end of the course, he had this whole catharsis as a result of the holotropic breathing or meditation, as he calls it. And I used to charge £15 per person for that in the UK. You'll also get 6 weeks access to the Art of Letting Go Facebook group. So this is what Bali said after the first course, how withdrawal symptoms, didn't realize just how spoiled I'd become. Jono posting lessons and reminders, I'm already missing it. So you get access to all the content from the first course, from the second course, from the whole program that I've run over the last year. There's literally hundreds of hours of recordings, there's videos, there's audio recordings, links to audio recordings posted in there, as well as comments and some really nice videos by other people like Eckhart Tolle as well. So there's a lot of value there if you want to go and dive into it. I'll just value that at £1 a day. You'll get 2 daily reminder emails from the second week onwards. The first week you just get one and just kind of ease you in to give you the lessons and the text from A Course in Miracles to read every day. Plus you'll get handy links to resources. So as Vim said, those emails are one of the foundations. Everything's in there. You don't need to buy the course. I think you all own the course, but you don't actually need the book. All the links to your reading and the resources are in the emails. So value that at £1 a day. This is what Nadia had to say. Love these reminders about the breath breaks. So you'll get these short little breath breaks or meditations to guide you through breath breaks, meditation several times a day, and practice the daily lesson. That's what Nadia had to say. It actually stopped her having a panic attack. She said she got one as she was having a panic attack, and she started doing the breathing. And it's actually impossible to have a panic attack if you're doing deep diaphragmatic breathing. So it's a great way of just shifting out of your state. And then at the same time doing some mind training. So using, as I said, breath work and mind training combined is a very, very powerful combination, which is what's incorporated into these breath breaks. So value those at a pound each. Because remember, you get to keep all of this. So all of this is then you've got access to the emails. You can download the recordings online. You get them in WhatsApp as well. So you can keep all of this, and you can re-listen to all these recordings as many times as you want. You'll also get about 80 hours of recorded discussion sessions in video and audio format. So if you don't have time to watch the video, you can just download the audio, the podcast, and you can listen to it whenever, while you're driving, cooking, working, to use that time that would otherwise not be learning time. 10 hours of live discussion sessions, about 30 hours of live meditation sessions. and that's equivalent to about 120 hours of recorded and live discussion and meditation sessions. So there's a lot of content. You don't have to do it all, but I'm giving you access to all of it. If you can do even half of this, this will have a profound impact on you over 6 weeks, because you can't do this level of immersion and not have things shift internally. That's the whole immersion process. In most courses, you might do an hour or two a week, and there's a very limited impact you can get from an hour or two a week. And that's the problem. So I'm asking you to commit some time to this, but in that time, in the first 6 weeks of next year, you will really, when I say it's a life-changing experience, I'm not exaggerating. That was just from the video from the Facebook group. And this is what Mike Farewell had to say. Course structure is great. Just an overview. Really like doing 2 calls a day. So we did, the 2. We actually did some chatting twice a day. This is slightly less intensive in that there's just a meditation. We're not doing a discussion every day, but you've got the recordings if you want that. You just had some stuff to say about my teaching, which is very kind. Keeping the flow going, finding an aspect to talk about. I think your process is amazing. You said yielded great results for me. The in-call meditations are really amazing. Find your meditation practice intertwined with the course content really works well, which is really what the meditations and the breath breaks do. Little guided meditations on the lesson often show me things I would not have picked up before. They give the space to view it differently. And that's really what this is about. Even if you've worked with these lessons and the material before, it's about giving a different perspective and giving you a different experience of it. Most of all, I've really enjoyed being connected with people all over the world and hearing different perspectives from everyone. So everyone says that. It's really nice to connect in and have this group dynamic, powerful dynamic in doing the course material together as a group and sharing energy. So that's I've just stacked up the value here so you can see. You may not use all of this, but it is all available for you. And you can actually download all of this as well. It's all available to download. So if you can't get to it in the actual course, you can listen to it after. Plus, there's some free bonuses. So as I said, there's about 70 hours audio recordings of discussion sessions during the first trial course and the Art of Letting Go club session since November last year. So a year's sessions. Probably more than 70 hours. I haven't counted, but probably easily more than 70 hours. Probably more like 100. I just put 70 to be conservative. And this is what Robin did in the days when we were all commuting to work. She would download and listen to the audio session each day en route to work. Just being in the session that way and listening to what's said, and she collapses time for me. All the negative, stressful thoughts that used to preoccupy my mind in that commute are now not there. I'm listening and applying the ideas. So you can do that. You can do it while you're driving, while you're working, while you're cooking, walking, if you're exercising. So there's a huge amount of bonus value if you really want to dive into this. And I'm going to give you an additional 3-month access to the Facebook group. So before the course starts, you can have access to it for the rest of the year, as well as subsequent, because you might want to go and review things that are in there. So it's an extra 3 months access for £90 value. And there's a lot of extra stuff. As I mentioned, I put posts in by Eckhart Tolle and people like Joe Dispenza. There's some really good stuff in there that you can learn from. So total value is priced in pounds, over £3,000 if you use all of that. So don't worry, I'm not going to suggest that you pay that. Your investment in it, normally I just discount that by 90% anyway. I'd say, okay, £308, which is a lot more affordable. But I'm also going to give you a free trial discount. So if you'd like to do this, it's effectively you get a 3-week free trial. I've just doubled that up as a discount. So I've said, okay, you don't pay for the first 3 weeks of the course. Effectively, it's a £155 discount as well as a free trial. You can do it however. You can pay for the course up front and you get a money back guarantee on the first 3 weeks. or you can just do it on a free trial and decide whether you want to continue at the end of the 3 weeks. It is Black Friday tomorrow, I believe. So in the spirit of Black Friday, I've included an extra discount for Black Friday, which is another 10%. And there's also an early bird discount on top of that. All of that brings it down to £97, which is somewhere around 2,000 Rand. At the moment, that is valid until the end of November. It's a 97% discount to value. So I've really tried to make this as affordable as possible. I'd like you to do the course. There's no point in making it unaffordable for people. I know that this has been a tough year for a lot of people financially, so money might be tight, but that is not a lot of money for 6 weeks for all the content and the value that you're going to get. So just a little look ahead. So you might be thinking, what happens after 6 weeks? Well, a lot of programs, 6 weeks, that's it, and then off you go on your merry way. And too often, a lot of what you learn just goes by the wayside. You don't end up practicing it. So I've designed a 1-year program, which is designed to take you through the entire Course in Miracles. We do the workbook, which is, as you know, 365 lessons. There's the manual for teachers. There's the text, and there's some supplements as well. I walk you through that in a very step-by-step guided way. You just chunk it down, and you do a little bit each day. And over the course of the year, I guide you through the entire program with live meditations, recorded meditations, discussion sessions. The same basic format as you experienced during the Art of Letting Go course is all there. Daily emails as well. You get 1 daily email. You get a WhatsApp message every day. You get access to the Facebook group. You get recorded meditations and breath breaks every day based on that lesson. So there are 2 or 3 recordings every day. Some of them 20 minutes, half an hour. Some of them only 2 or 3 minutes. So you can use those tools and make the program work for you. That's I'm giving you access to all of the material to just help you to work through A Course in Miracles. If you'd like to continue, if after 6 weeks you don't want to, that's totally fine. You paid for the program. There's a lot of value just in the Art of Letting Go course. But if you'd like to continue, then there's a whole program, which, as you can see, I've stacked up the value there, valued it, I think, fairly conservatively. So it's worth close to £10,000. Again, I'm not going to charge you that. There's normally I discount that by 90%, but you get a free trial discount. You get a Black Friday discount. You get an early bird discount. Until the end of November, it's £397. And I'll translate that into rands for you before we go. That's somewhere around 7,000 Rand, which is about 96% discount to value. So if you'd like to go the whole hog tonight and you'd like to commit to that, there's a special on. You can do that. You certainly don't have to, but I'm giving you the opportunity. If you're really excited about doing the full 1 year program next year. So just to wrap this up, and I really appreciate your time and attention to this. I'm just going to talk about some of the things that might stop you. So we all know what it feels like to be stopped at a roadblock by police. Let's see if I can get them out the way, which is kind of what roadblocks are. They sort of obstacles in our mind. Okay, is it leaving? Okay, there we go, finally. The roadblock left. So the first one might be I don't have the time, which is a very common excuse. I'll use that word in today's world because we're busy, we're time stressed, we don't have seemingly enough time. How am I going to fit in another hour or 2 of practicing in the day? Well, there's a couple of ways. You can watch an hour's less TV if you watch any TV, and go to bed an hour earlier, so you can get up an hour earlier to meditate. So you're trading TV time, which is literally telling you your vision, usually not a very positive vision, for meditation, which is time to go within and really find the essence of who you are. That's a very good trade to make. You can also integrate the other key spiritual practices into your daily routine to make you more effective and productive. So you can take breath breaks when you need a break from work. and listen to discussion sessions while you're doing other activities, such as driving, eating, cooking, and walking, for instance. Which means that that time, hour or two in a day, which would have been dead time from a learning point of view, you can actually use just by using modern technology and listening to the audio recordings on your phone or your iPod, however you want to do it. It's an MP3 format, which is played in virtually any player will play MP3. So you might say, I'm not ready for this. Well, I think if you're over 30, that's just an excuse to avoid taking responsibility for your own happiness, flow, fulfillment, purpose, and success. So under 30, I might say, okay, sometimes you need to be ready for this. Most people come to this kind of teaching a little bit later in life. But I believe we're all over 30 here. So it's about taking responsibility for our own life. Only you can do this for yourself, and your life will not last forever. 30 years pass very quickly. Someone close to me in my family has been trying to do something, write a book for nearly 30 years, 29 years, and it's gone so quickly. And you it makes you reflect on your own life and go, God, 3 decades has gone by since then, and it went so quickly. So carpe diem, seize the day. Now is the time. There's never been a better time, particularly given the state of the world and some of the difficulties we've experienced this year, which I think will continue next year. There's never been a better time to do this kind of work and really transform your mind and your life in the process. And you'll get all the tools and support you need to do this. So it's a very facilitated, guided process. You're not on your own, which is where a lot of people struggle with the course. So just a couple of quotes from A Course in Miracles. And this is A Course in Miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. So whether we like it or not, what this is saying, it's a required course. We need to learn this curriculum. It's just a matter of when we choose to take it, when we choose to learn these lessons. So why not sooner rather than later? And although it's Christian in statement, the course deals with universal spiritual themes. It is but one version of the universal curriculum. There are many others, this one differing from them only in form. They all lead to God, whatever your conception of God is. God as an eternal loving presence really is what the Course's version of God is, not some theological God, certainly not the God of the Old Testament. So it's one version of a universal curriculum. Whether you like it or not, we're all studying this curriculum. I just believe this is the quickest and easiest way to get to the end destination. But there are other paths. The Christian and masculine terminology. So it uses Christian terminology, terms like Christ and the Holy Spirit, and it also uses the masculine quite a lot, which some people have an issue with. You're all female, so I'm just going to address this. First of all, words are but symbols of symbols, twice removed from reality. So they are just pointers. The words themselves are not important. They point you into a deeper state of mind, a deeper connection with something internally. And I translate these terms. So if there's a term like Holy Spirit or God or Christ, then there's always another word for it. There's always another term that can be used. This is from the Alcoholics Anonymous Big Book. So it's another transformational approach, particularly for people who are addicts. Do not let any prejudice you may have against spiritual terms deter you from honestly asking yourself what they mean. And as I said, I'll translate the Christian and masculine terms into secular and genderless language, because this is a non-dual teaching. It's not about gender, and it's not about any particular religion. So I just do that as we go along through the course. I can't afford this, so that might be another objection, possibly the final one, hopefully. And all I'll say is it's your happiness, it's your flow, your success, your fulfillment, your purpose, your life, and no one's going to do it for you. If you say that you're not worth it, I'm not worth paying this money, then the problem is what you're really doing is devaluing yourself, which is never a good thing to do. The whole point of the course is to help you to find your true worth. As we all have a fundamental life operating program that we're somehow not good enough and we're not worthy. We'll address that in the course. So part of this, the first step in overcoming that belief, is just taking some action to say, actually, I am worth it. It's the most powerful form of affirmation. So by paying for the course, you're not really paying for it for me, paying for it for yourself. You're telling yourself that you're worthy of it, and that you're worthy of spending the time and the money on your own spiritual growth and your own happiness and your own flow and your own fulfillment and your own well-being. And that's really an essential part of the transformation process. If this was free, then sadly, most people don't value what's free, and they simply don't pay attention. So it ensures you value and you pay attention to what you're learning, rather than just going, oh, well, it's all free anyway. So if I haven't got any skin in the game, then the way the ego mind works is I'm not really going to commit any time and effort to it. And then you don't get any value from the course, because you get out what you put in. It's kind of how life works. So it's a little microcosm of the macrocosm of your life for 6 weeks. So also, as I mentioned, you get a 3-week free trial. So if you don't want to spend any money on this up front, it's fine, completely fine. You don't have to. Just say, I'd like to do this on a 3-week free trial. You can do it. After 3 weeks, you can decide whether you want to continue or not. If you'd like to dive into this and get the discounts, because there is an early bird discount and there is a Black Friday discount, which discounts it by a fair amount. It's about £56. You will get a money back guarantee. So anytime within the first 3 weeks of the course, if you don't want to continue, you just tell me. I'd like to know the reason, because that's very valuable learning. So I'll ask you to just have a chat with me, but there's no hard feelings. If you don't want to carry on, that has happened once. Someone did the course earlier this year, and she decided not to continue. And the reason she decided not to continue was she actually wanted to work through the course herself. She wanted a facilitated process, but 2 weeks into it, she realized, actually, I just want to do my own thing. I want to just read the text she was reading at the time. I don't want to do the workbook yet. I just want to read the text in my own time, and that's really working for me. So that's the case for you, and you really want to do the course yourself, and you've experienced that, and it is a self-study course. That's absolutely fine. You can give this a try, and if you don't want to continue, no hard feelings. I'll give you your money back, or you just do the first 3 weeks on a free trial and see if the process works for you. What most people struggle with is to stay in the immersion of it. To do this for the level of at the level of immersion that I'm suggesting for 6 weeks on your own is difficult, if not impossible. So if you want that immersion experience, you want the guidance and the facilitation and the emails and the reminders and the breath breaks and the meditations and discussion sessions to really help you and guide you. And most people do find it pretty helpful to have some kind of guidance, even if it's just a discussion session. This is just taking that level of facilitation and guidance to another level. Then this course is for you. So you, as I said, you can do the first 3 weeks free. You can get the Letting Go Meditation Power Pack, the Art of Letting Go course manual, the 6-week access to the Art of Letting Go Facebook group free. If you decide to do the first 3 weeks, I'll give that all to you absolutely free. And if you don't want to continue after 3 weeks and you don't want to pay me, there's no hard feelings. You got all of it free. So I'll try to make it as affordable and as doable as possible for all of you, because I'd really like you to do the course. I'm doing my own course. I'm going to be a student on my own course. I'm actually going to do the course that I've designed as a student, because most of it is just facilitated. I'm not teaching every day, apart from the guided meditation. So I'm going to be doing my own course. It'd be great if you all join me and we do this together and see what happens. You can also do this free. So you can pay a £397 accountability deposit, as I call it. You can do the entire course free. To qualify to get your deposit back, you need to attend at least 5 live discussion sessions, including the introductory and the closing ones, attend at least 20 live meditation sessions, complete all 12 exercises in the course manual, and send me the completed exercises, complete an online questionnaire after the course finishes, and do a 30-minute interview and a 5-minute testimonial that you're happy for me to use for marketing purposes. So there's a couple of requirements. If you really want to do the course properly, this is a way to make sure you do it. Because if you put down that 397 pounds, which is somewhere around 8,000 Rand, then you will make sure you do this properly. So that's another way of doing this. I will say at the end of that, end of the 6 weeks, I'm going to make you an offer as to what you can do with your 397 pound accountability deposit, but you don't have to accept that offer. If you want your money back, then you can have your money back. So just to summarize, this is what makes this program unique. So I've talked a lot about it, just in comparison to some other programs out there. And there are other programs where you can work through A Course in Miracles. There's transformation programs online. There's many of those. First of all, it's based on truth, and it's the highest wisdom of the ages. This is based on the perennial philosophy, it's called, which is the idea that there's a transcendent wisdom, a transcendent dimension to life. And we can access that, and we can experience that right now. So it's just another version of that universal curriculum. Secondly, it's about experiential immersion in a flow of key spiritual practices. So this is all about this flow, this element of water. The first element is spirit. So there's water. There's a flow that's going to happen in your life. And every day you're just going to be in flow, and you're going to do these practices in a very flowing way that just fit in with your daily life. One of the reasons I'm going to do this as well is because I want to see how that works for me. How does my own program work in my own life? And how easy is it to flow with these things? I've designed it to be as easy as possible so that these things really just fit in. You can take these short breath breaks. You can take little timeouts where you do a 15, 20-minute meditation. And that helps you to stay in this connected state, the state of flow. That's the idea. So the immersion leads to flow. Thirdly, there's a structured, guided, and facilitated daily schedule. So this is really the earth element. There's some structure, there's some guidance. It's all very well saying, oh, we just go with the flow, but without structure, often that just disintegrates into chaos and a lack of discipline. You end up not getting very much done. So it's kind of a balance between structure and flow. All right, someone's saying something in the chat. Right, thank you, Sakila. Well, you've almost finished. So if you can stay another 2 minutes, I'm nearly done. We're literally at the end. But if you have to go, then by all means go. There's constant communication through daily email, WhatsApp, and live Zoom sessions. There's accountability and enthusiasm through positive group energy. So that's the fire element. So you've got the 5 spiritual elements: spirit, water, earth, air, fire. There's a lot of value, I believe, in this, exceptional value for money in a way that I haven't seen in any other program. Most of them, you might get an hour or two of some recorded YouTube video, which you have access to, and they will charge you $197 over 6 weeks or 8 weeks for that. Experiential, so it's experiential through these unique meditations. And these meditations you're not going to get anywhere else. I haven't found anywhere else, anyone or anywhere else that you can get these meditations. They're completely unique. I've recorded them based on the course's teachings, and it combines the best of the Eastern and the Western spiritual paths. So there's a union, which is really what it's all about, which you can now bring into your own life and actually live these things. That's the idea, is to make it very livable and very doable. So it's your happiness, it's your flow, higher purpose, well-being, and true success are actually priceless. You can't really put a price on these things. We're dealing in the domain of money and paying. So, I've talked about the value and all, but in the end, we're talking about something that's completely priceless. It's your enlightenment, your happiness and your enlightenment. And let's take this down here so you can see. To each there comes in their lifetime a special moment when they're figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered the chance to do a very special thing, unique to them and fitted to their talents. What a tragedy if that moment finds them unprepared or unqualified for that which could have been their finest hour. So I think it's time for all of us to step up personally in our own lives, but the world needs people to really take this message to heart. And the only way that we're going to transform our world, our society, is if individuals take their journey of transformation, and then those ripple effects start to affect society. And I think more than ever now, given what's happened this year, it requires people to stand up and be counted and actually do this. So I hope this will be a vehicle in which you can find that calling, and you can actually express that calling and live that calling. So this is just a summary of some of these. Don't want to make it too complicated, but just have a chat to me after. Tell me what you want to do. If you want to just do the course, it's 1,990 Rand. As I said, there's a lot of extra value there, 97% discount to value. For the benefit of Sekile and Penny, if you want to do this as a couple, you don't have to be married or in a relationship, I think you just be friends, then you can take advantage of that. There's a couple discount. If you do it together, £175 or 3,630 Rand. You do it together, which is quite a nice way to do it. So you become each other's buddies, and we have a little buddy system anyway in the course going. So each other's buddies, and you hold each other accountable to doing the process. There's also a mastery version of the course where you can do 7 hours of one-to-one coaching sessions with me if you really want to do that, and you like that personal one-to-one interaction. That's £297. So you get an extra hour a week of my personal time where we'll interact on Zoom, just around the course, your experiences, whatever's arising for you. That's totally your time to do what you want with. I do that for couples as well. So Sakina and Penny, you can do that. And then there's the Art Letting Go Club 1 year program. So that's $397 if you do it before the end of November for the whole year, or 8,240 Rand. And there's also that discount for as a couple if you want to commit to the whole year's program. Okay, so we can come back to that slide if you need to. Just talk to me afterwards, tell me what you want to do, and I'll give you the relevant pricing. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, as Lao Tzu said, one of the ancient masters. So you can do it online. I'll send you this URL tomorrow. There's a £56 saving on the standard course if you do it before the end of November. I'm going to hold that Black Friday discount until the end of the month. Visa, MasterCard, American Express, all taken. I also pay directly into my South African bank account. I can give you those details. And if you'd like to do the 3-week free trial, just email me or WhatsApp me. Or if you want to pay the £400 deposit, WhatsApp me as well. Or if you want to do the course free, or if you want to include the 7 individual sessions. So there's various options. You just tell me what you want to do, and I'll help you to do it. So that's in a nutshell. As Morpheus said, this is going back to the Matrix. This is your last chance. After this, there's no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed, believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. So I hope you'll choose to take the red pill. You'll go down the rabbit hole with me, because it is a bit of a rabbit hole. Over the 6-week course, we go deeply into your mind. We look at some deep-seated issues, and we'll help you to become aware of them and let them go. And that is what transformation is all about. It's not necessarily easy, but it's necessary. If you really want to find the happiness, the flow, the fulfillment, the well-being that we can all experience, but sadly so few people do, because they simply are not doing this kind of work. They're not doing these key spiritual practices on a daily basis. So which way will you choose? So any questions? Let's have some questions first, and then if you are would like to stay, I will guide you through a little meditation, just to end the session off on a meditative note, prepare you for bed.
Hi, Jonathan. Thank you so much. I
Yeah,
don't
my
have
pleasure,
any,
Penny.
I don't have any questions, so thank you.
Okay.
I would like to exit now.
Yeah, okay. So I will send you a follow-up email tomorrow with a link to this recording and some of the information I've included. Think about, what you want to do. Are you interested in doing the course next year?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of things. So yeah, I've been on this transformation path. I've got my coaching systems and all that. So yeah, I'll think about it and come back to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining. Really appreciate
Okay then.
it. And
Thanks
let
a
me know
lot.
if you have any questions.
Okay then. Bye.
Thanks a lot, Penny. Have a nice evening.
Thanks, you too.
Okay. Bye
Bye.
for now.